This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
Breaking news out of Paris. 3 terrorists killed in a gun battle with law enforcement. 1 woman still on the run. What we're learning about the innocent lives lost.
A small plane crashes moments after taking off from Van Nuys Airport. The pilot is dead and an investigation is underway.
A candlelight vigil happening right now for 3-week-old Eliza Dela Cruz. Her body was found in a trash bin in San Diego County after her parents were shot in their Long Beach home. Good evening, I'm Michelle Tuzzi.
I'm David Ona. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. And we begin with breaking news. The brothers suspected in the deadly Paris attack have been killed. So has an associate of theirs, but not before he's believed to have murdered 4 hostages. Meantime, a 4th suspect is still at large and considered armed and dangerous. Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is live in the newsroom with the late breaking details. Alex.
Well, David, the French prosecutor says that one of the suspects was carrying flags in his car for Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and for ISIS. Tonight, the U.S. government has issued a worldwide travel alert after an extraordinary and deadly day in France.
Gunshots at 2 separate dramatic police raids leaves 3 terrorists killed. Officials believe the Kouachi brothers were working with Amadei Coulibaly as part of an Al-Qaeda cell. The Kouachis accused of killing 12 during the Charlie Hebdo shootings on Wednesday. Coulibaly accused of killing a police officer Thursday. Early Friday, the Kouachis hole up inside a printing press for hours. At one point, Sharif Kouachi talks to a French reporter by phone.
We are just telling you that we are the defenders of the Prophet Muhammad. I was sent, me, Sharif Kouachi, by Al-Qaeda in Yemen.
Police say the brothers are carrying an arsenal of weapons, including Molotov cocktails and a rocket-propelled grenade. Police open fire on the suspects when they walk outside the building, ready to start shooting. Meanwhile, 19 miles away, their associate is holding more than a dozen hostages until police step in. Police fire shot after shot. Coulibaly had already killed 4 hostages and rigged the store with explosives. The suspect runs towards the gunfire and is shot by police. We pause the video here. Moments later, police enter the store and free those hostages. They flee as quickly as possible after one of the most frightening days of their lives. Coulibaly's girlfriend, Hayat Boumediene, is able to get away. Tonight, she's considered armed and dangerous. Pictures from 2010 show the couple posing along with several weapons. Hayat with what appears to be a crossbow. Tonight, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is claiming credit for directing all of this to send a message about the boundaries of free speech. But at the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, a defiant stand for free speech with the message, Paris is Charlie. In Knoxville, President Obama discusses values the U.S. shares with its oldest ally, France.
We stand for freedom and hope and the dignity of all human beings, and that's what the city of Paris represents to the world.
The French president believes that the attack in the kosher market was motivated by anti-Semitism. Tomorrow, the Grand Synagogue in Paris will close due to security concerns for the first time on the Sabbath since World War II. Reporting live from the newsroom, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Remarkable day, Alex. Thank you for that report. The local Jewish community is shocked and stunned by the attack on a kosher grocery store in Paris today. At the Simon Wiesenthal Center, condolences for the families of the hostages who died and a call for Islamic leaders to take action.
Where do the 6,000 imams, where are their voices? The time has come for the people of the Western world to ask them, what do you think of this attack?
Heyer said if they don't speak up, we will see similar terrorist attacks all over the world.
It is still very tense in Paris as 3 days of terror came to an end. French authorities had to deal with multiple locations and hostages, and experts say they used sophisticated tactics to end the standoff. As negotiators tried to deal with a suspect who was holding hostages, security experts say it's all about keeping the calm. Local law enforcement leaders say the goal is to focus on the suspect.
You want to downplay the hostages to make them not feel so important. Yes, they are important, but that's not what we're trying to let the person start believing that he has the power over us.
Experts say it appears the suspects had carefully planned the original attack but made a few mistakes, and that helped to track them down. Keep it right here for continuing coverage of the terror attack in Paris and the ongoing effort to bring the killers to justice. We'll bring you any new details as they come in. And you can also get the latest on our website, ABC7.com, and on Facebook and Twitter.
A single-engine plane goes down shortly after taking off from the Van Nuys Airport. It crashed at the intersection of Havenhurst Avenue and Van Owen Street in Lake Balboa. The debris is scattered at the intersection, all that's left of the plane. The word experimental is visible on the wreckage. The pilot likely killed on impact. Witnesses say the plane came straight down, narrowly missing passing cars and pedestrians.
I was telling everybody back off because it was gas flammable, it could catch on fire.
First thing that came to my mind, I thought it was a semi-trailer in a car accident maybe. When I come out and we don't see nothing, I see the plane, I'm like, oh, it's over.
Police say the pilot was the only person on board. No one on the ground was injured, and a similar crash of a single-engine plane in 2007 was blamed on a luggage compartment door that was left open. In that case, the plane was flying out of Van Nuys Airport and crashed into a residential street. The pilot and co-pilot were killed.
New at 7, a candlelight vigil tonight for 3-week-old Elisa Dela Cruz. Her body was found in a trash bin in San Diego. Her killer is still at large. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is live in Long Beach, where the community is remembering her. Jory?
That vigil just seems to be wrapping up right now. It includes some candlelight prayer here. It also included the entire group leaving the scene and canvassing neighbors, going door to door, trying to get some kind of information to bring a close to this case. As last weekend, 3-week-old Elisa Dela Cruz was taken from her home and found murdered in San Diego County. Now, not here tonight at the vigil were Elisa's mother and father and uncle. They remain in the hospital. The 3 of them were shot on Saturday before Elisa was taken. The father has been discharged. The mother and uncle remain in the hospital, but the father is there at the hospital with the mother. The whole family, as this entire community, is in mourning tonight. Tonight's vigil, put on by the group Justice for Murdered Children. They are looking for the killer of Elisa to come forward and face justice, and this entire neighborhood is very shaken up.
The reason we came out is because my son was murdered a few months ago, well, almost a year ago, and our community was really good to us, so we decided we will pay it forward from here on out.
It's really hard to think that someone could put a baby like this in a dumpster and just leave the baby at 3 weeks old, so it's hard. We live 2 blocks away.
This is a baby. This shouldn't happen, and somebody doesn't know.
There were a lot of tears tonight. Many people brought their children to tonight's vigil, and understandably, neighbors and residents here are very upset. Back here live now, this group went door to door tonight, passing out this flyer. It is in both English and in Spanish. They are offering $25,000 for information on this case, as little 3-week-old Elisa Dela Cruz's killer remains at large. We're live tonight in Long Beach. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Jory, thank you for that. In the meantime, let's talk about our weather. It was certainly another nice day out there, but finally some talk of rain, and here's Jonathan Novak.
Yeah, David, temperatures were a little bit above average today. We had some clouds around the area. This is a time-lapse from Laguna Beach at the end of the day, where some thin clouds, high clouds were just still streaming on in. Live Megadoppler 7000 HD, some rain off to the eastern portions of our area, in fact, east of our area, moving east and fizzling away, and then offshore. This batch of rain is dying out, so if we see any of that make it to our coast, I don't think it'll be much. It would be about a 10% chance of that happening tonight. So we're going to keep it mostly dry. Temperatures today were above average by 3-4 degrees in downtown, and around the area we were either there, right there at average, or a little bit above. Tonight we're into the 50s in Burbank, Santa Monica, Ontario, Oxnard, and Ojai. For tomorrow, the clouds are thickening up, and the rain chances are actually going to be increasing with another system off to the west of us. I'll detail that coming up in the 7-day.
Okay, Jonathan, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you. President Obama announced his new proposal on education, publicly funded community college. The president picked Tennessee to make his announcement because the state already offers 2 free years of community college. Under the proposal, about 9 million students would qualify if they maintained a 2.5 grade point average and attended at least half-time.
I want to make it free. Community colleges should be free for those willing to work for it. Because in America, a quality education cannot be a privilege that is reserved for a few. I think it's a right for everybody who's willing to work for it.
The new program would be called America's College Promise, after the Tennessee Promise program. With $60 billion over 10 years, the president's proposal will likely face tough opposition from Republicans.
Governor Jerry Brown is standing firm on a plan to avoid tuition increases for University of California campuses. Instead, he's calling on UC officials to rethink how it does business. But as Inland Empire reporter Leticia Waters explains, tuition could go up anyway.
At UC Riverside, students back from the holiday break were unaware Governor Jerry Brown may have a gift for them by holding firm on a tuition freeze, an idea welcomed by students struggling to pay for their education.
I'm already applying for jobs just so I can pay for my first year and my loan already.
But it's the UC Board of Regents that sets tuition rates, not the governor. In November, the board approved increasing tuition up to 5% a year for the next 5 years. To avoid the price hike, UC leadership told the governor it needed more money. But that didn't happen today.
So I think the university can be a fine university, living within the funds that we've appropriated.
The governor's budget allocating $120 million to the UC system comes with the condition that the tuition freeze stays intact. UC President Janet Napolitano called the lack of sufficient funding a disappointment. In a statement which reads in part, "We are hopeful that the continued discussion with the governor and the legislature will yield a budget that maintains the access, affordability, and excellence for which the University of California is renowned."
I'm in favor of the governor giving the money with the strings attached because tuition is already high as it is, and I know many of my peers can't really afford it.
So it's not yet clear if a tuition hike is on the horizon. Even so, students are still frustrated with the cost to attend college.
It's like we're paying more money just for the tuition. It's already enough as it is.
The governor says that in the coming months, he hopes to negotiate with the UC Board of Regents and look at ways to reduce the cost structures. Reporting in Riverside, Leticia Waters, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Still ahead, a look at the dangerous weather sweeping through much of the country.
Plus, a bus slams into a home, the moment of impact caught on camera.
And she didn't know she was pregnant until it was nearly time to push. What this new mom is saying about her big surprise. Caught on camera, a bus crashing into a home in New Mexico. Police say this van ran a red light, smashing into the bus which then plowed into the house. There were 5 passengers on the bus. Many of them were thrown from their seats. Fortunately, none of the injuries appears to be serious. A woman inside the house was not seriously injured when the bus came crashing through. And you wouldn't know it here in Southern California, but the weather is dangerous across more than half of the country. From Nashville to Cleveland, folks are dealing with bone-chilling temperatures leading to accidents and school closings. As ABC's Rob Marciano tells us, tomorrow's weather is expected to be even worse.
Tonight, deadly driving. A 170-vehicle pileup in Michigan on major Interstate 94. Mangled cars and tractor trailers burning out of control. This one carrying a load of fireworks.
We know one fatality for sure. As far as we know, we've gotten to all the injured people.
A 3-mile area around the crash evacuated.
I'm extremely lucky to be alive right now. The gentleman that was driving the semi-trailer that stopped behind me, he's the one that protected me and kept me from dying, basically.
In western New York, traffic cameras on the state thruway showing a ghost town. 132 miles of road shut down. Snow blowing sideways, snarling the commutes for millions in the Northeast. Following this deadly week, the men's family counting their blessings. After slamming into the back of a tractor trailer in blinding snow, they were dragged 16 miles. Calling 911.
It was snow blinding. We ran into the back of a semi-truck, and he's not stopping, and our car is embedded underneath of it.
Tonight, everyone's safe.
16 miles of complete and utter helplessness. We had no control of anything.
All right, we have breaking news going on right now. This is towards downtown. Right now we are in the Westlake District. We understand that there's a pursuit underway. This came out as a stolen vehicle pursuit. We believe it is a white pickup truck. It's moving at a high rate of speed, running red lights. LAPD is close behind them, plus with air units overhead. You can see the spotlights from the air units hitting this truck. The dangerous thing here is we've seen this truck run a number of red lights, dashing through intersections. Still a great deal of traffic in downtown Los Angeles. And bear with us, though, we're dealing with some big skyscrapers as well, as this pursuit seems to be going right through these large buildings. From what we understand, the LAPD is close behind this truck. They haven't backed off yet, even though he is continuing to run through red lights, intersections. I think that was him that just took a left turn right there on that street. This looks like we pretty much are in downtown Los Angeles right now. We probably are all the way through the Westlake District, now in downtown Los Angeles as they're being pursued. He was on Wilshire Boulevard. Eastbound. I think he's pulled off on another street now, but you understand that he's very close to these areas that we're talking about. Winding through the area, the library building there, as we often call it, and then he's taking a right on the street directly below it. As we navigate through these big skyscrapers. So I don't know if this is completely accidental that this suspect is trying to get away through downtown Los Angeles, but keep in mind this does present a bit of a problem for police helicopters as well as news helicopters in pursuit of this vehicle, because they're not only having to navigate around all the traffic and the quick movements, but navigate around the big buildings too. Dangerous procedure here. There's the truck. It is at a complete stop. I think that's an intersection where everybody is stopped, so he can't go any further. LAPD right behind him, but so far, nobody's getting out of their vehicles from what we can see. Granted, this is nighttime right now. Visibility is definitely going to be challenged, but a lot of street lights are out there helping us out. There you see the white pickup truck on the move, going again, backtracking through downtown Los Angeles.
Well, AR7's been doing a great job of keeping up with it because it's very difficult to track this vehicle with the skyscrapers posing, blocking our view, of course. We're following this now in downtown Los Angeles. We believe this began in Highland Park not too long ago, maybe about 15 minutes ago. It started near the southbound 110 freeway, near or on the freeway, and then continued on into downtown Los Angeles. We're not sure how many people are inside that vehicle, if it's just one person or if there's perhaps a passenger or two inside the cab with that driver. We do know, though, however, it is a stolen vehicle. That's confirmed by the LAPD.
Squeezed through that dangerous intersection right there where he clearly did not have the right of way, but he took it anyway. Luckily, all the cars stopped, just like that one as well. We do understand that while he was meandering through the downtown Los Angeles area, which he still is right now, he drove the wrong way on Hope. passing Wilshire Boulevard. So just think about that. If he goes the wrong way down a street where all this oncoming traffic, that's very dangerous. Is this a one-way street? We can't tell right now, but it's very narrow, and I only see cars going in the opposite direction. So it does look like he's doing it again. Or maybe, possibly not, but a narrow street nonetheless, and it shows the danger of what this pursuit is bringing us, because this guy doesn't seem to be respecting any kind of a traffic signal or concerned too much about the oncoming traffic or traffic crossing his path. He is just taking it. He's going just like that right there. Dangerous, Michelle.
It's extremely dangerous, and authorities don't have a lot of options right now other than to follow, and sometimes we will see them pull back when it starts to get really out of control. Sometimes the authorities will pull back in an effort to get that suspect to slow down. We don't see them closely behind, but we do believe they are not too far, much more than a half a block or so behind that vehicle. LAPD in pursuit of this stolen pickup truck that we believe, this pursuit, we believe it started in the Highland Park area just before we went on the air tonight at 7 o'clock.
As Michelle mentioned, we don't have a whole lot of information on what's going on inside that vehicle. We don't know if it started to pull over and then took off, or just took off as they immediately tried to pull him over. It could be one person in the cab of the truck, but it could be a lot more. We just don't have that information right now. And as we continue to watch this, obviously whoever is in that truck and driving it is very desperate to get away. And these are the kinds of pursuits that often end up with a tragedy or people getting hurt because this guy. We've seen other pursuits where they at least slow down, they're careful on intersections, they just want to keep moving, but they just generally know that they're not going to get away. This guy doesn't seem to care about any of that. He's going to move at a high rate of speed. Now I think this might be the 110 freeway. We'll try to get some confirmation for you on where he is, but clearly on a freeway right now, moving at a high rate of speed. You could barely see him there in the midst of all those other vehicles, and the way you could tell is he is the tail lights that are moving a lot faster than everybody else. I think this might be the 110, but we'll try to get some confirmation right now as he continues to head probably away from downtown Los Angeles, making an aggressive move to pull off this freeway, whatever it might be. Perhaps is that the 10 freeway? We're trying to get some more information on exactly where he is. 110, he's southbound 110, and then he pulled over, so he's back on surface streets right now, Michelle.
He is back on surface streets, and that always poses a greater danger than when these pursuits take place on a freeway. Of course, you have a higher, chance of a collision with another vehicle, going through red lights. There could be pedestrians who would be crossing the street that could be in harm's way. So this is really not what officers want to see. A pursuit now going through downtown Los Angeles, past the Regal Theaters now, and talk about a situation where you could have pedestrians.
Yeah, that's right there by LA Live. The Ritz-Carlton and Marriott are right there, and there's a lot of restaurants and a lot of people. That's just a couple of blocks from Staples Center that he just passed. It looks like he then took that left, so he's going away from that area and heading into obviously a less populated, less lit area of downtown Los Angeles. I believe he's probably headed to the other side of the freeway, but we'll try, or perhaps he's getting on the freeway here once again, aggressively moving from lane to lane. Police still, as you can see, there's a patrol car. They're staying right behind him. Perhaps that is some aid to the other drivers who are in the area. They hear the lights and sirens. They know something is up, so they're going to be very careful. Hopefully they're listening and paying attention, because this guy is going to do anything. He's pulling all the way to either side of the roadway. Now, as we continue to follow this, we're trying to see if is he back on the 110 freeway. It looks like he might be southbound on 110 again. As we continue to watch, we often see these guys do their circles. He's pulling off the 110 freeway, LAPD in close pursuit behind them. Again, there are those giant buildings that helicopters are going to have to maneuver through. Tough to see. And perhaps that does aid the suspect to some degree, because they might lose their air supports for a few seconds at a time.
Right. This is very difficult for the LAPD to track with the skyscrapers hindering their view at many turns throughout this pursuit. It's becoming difficult to track the suspect. But here we are now again on the surface streets. The suspect had jumped onto the 110 freeway for a short time. Now back on the I thought that was okay, crossing an intersection there. it's kind of hard to see from
Right.
what we're looking at here in the studio.
I don't know if you noticed all the cars that were lined up in that intersection, but clearly a lot of people out. Keep in mind, it's Friday night. Well, it's really tough to see when it has overpasses, underpasses, etc. I got a little bit concerned there that there was going to be a collision, but that car was overhead on an overpass. These large intersections, a lot of traffic in this area. Friday night, so folks are out enjoying themselves, having dinner, going to the local bars, etc. And downtown Los Angeles has had this revitalization, so it's a very popular place to go, especially on a Friday night. There, clearly he is going over the 110 freeway. Let's see where he goes, if he decides to head into the neighborhood or if he's going to pull off and try to get back onto the freeway. So we'll be patient with us as we try to look for the shot. There he is, popped out on the other side of that building. He's staying on surface streets right now from what we understand and continuing to head straight. I believe if he continues on in this direction, he'll be somewhere near both Wilshire and Sunset Boulevard. So staying on surface streets, at least he's decided to do that right now, heading away from the freeways, although he could probably turn and eventually get to the 101 freeway from where he is right now. But staying surface streets, and obviously we always believe that that is a very dangerous place to be. Westbound on 3rd Street. Okay, so he's 3rd Street, westbound on 3rd Street right now.
So westbound on 3rd Street, and if this person continues going in that direction, it will be hitting even more lights, a lot of red lights, and probably coming up on some traffic Friday night, as David pointed out. A lot of people going out at West 3rd, a lot of shops, a lot of restaurants.
Lakers game, too. We're getting word that the Lakers are supposed to tip off today at Staples Center at 7:30 tonight. We're 4 minutes away from that. So there's a lot of traffic that the Laker games bring in, not just at Staples Center, but a lot of folks love to go to the bars and restaurants downtown to enjoy the game, even though they're not at the game.
Just went through another red light there. So in addition to evading police, he will be, or she, will be hit with a number of going through red light infractions.
We don't know much about this vehicle, and it's tough to catch up with it right now. I don't know if that's a logo on the back and the side of the vehicle, but keep in mind it's reported as stolen. So whatever signage that you see on this vehicle, it's probably not associated with what you see because this is considered stolen.
That's right. That is confirmed from the LAPD. This is a stolen vehicle. This is a pursuit that began in Highland Park, jumped on the 110 freeway, went into downtown Los Angeles, and now the suspect making a turn off of West 3rd. We're trying to find out what street this is now.
But you see the LAPD close at hand, northbound on Alvarado is where he is. Close at hand, LAPD staying right behind him. The good news, at least in the last minute or so, he does seem to have slowed down. Perhaps it's because he doesn't know where he's going. Maybe he's being more careful. Maybe he's getting some senses about him. But there's really nowhere he can go with all the traffic. So he slowed down just a bit, not as reckless as he was about 10, 15 minutes ago. It doesn't mean it's not going to change, but right now he slowly goes through that intersection of all things. He does get the green light and he moves slowly on that one. But we've seen him run many red lights, many stop signs, and come to near collisions a number of times today just in the last 15 minutes.
The police have a couple of options in bringing these pursuits to a stop. Sometimes they'll use the pursuit intervention technique, the pit maneuver, as we know it here in Southern California. But that is a very dangerous maneuver to do in an area where there could be pedestrians, or this car could collide, this truck could collide with another vehicle. And then the spike strip, but that's really hard to deploy if they can't anticipate his direction.
That's what we're trying to determine right now, Michelle. There may have been a spike strip, but we can't confirm that. We do know that our folks in Air 7 a couple of times saw sparks coming from the front driver's side tire. Often that is an indication that the tire is blown, and perhaps a spike strip did that. Maybe that's why he is slowing down, because he's starting to lose control of the vehicle. Nevertheless, we're going to watch it closely. If they did deploy a spike strip, it certainly does slow a vehicle down, and the driver starts to lose some control.
Yeah, I thought I saw some sparks earlier, but then I thought, oh, maybe it was the hubcap or the rim of the wheel that was reflecting.
I mean, it's
hard to see.
Tough to tell, especially if he's hitting some of these bumps pretty hard. It could be anything. But just speculatively, if they did deploy a spike strip, he's going to lose some, obviously, traction and control, and maybe that's why he slowed down a little bit.
All right. We have on the phone with us now J.T. Alpaugh. who's been monitoring this pursuit. And JT, can you hear us?
I can hear you, Alan. How are you?
Good. Michelle here. JT, how you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. What are your thoughts on this pursuit as you're watching this?
Well, so far we see a lot of different speeds from the suspect in the stolen vehicle. And what's interesting is he went in the downtown area, maybe hoping to lose the air unit in the high-rise buildings, but that's never the case with LAPD air support. They're going to stay right overhead. And he went down some one-way streets, which was interesting, in the wrong way. So, again, he's making an attempt, obviously, to get away from the officers, but his attempts have been futile so far. LAPD Northeast Division officers staying with this pursuit as it goes through the Rampart area and now into the residential areas. But right now, a suspect driving, getting erratically, as you mentioned before, and now starting to slow down a little bit. It's uncertain if they were able to deploy a spike strip to slowly deflate those tires. So far from what we're seeing, it doesn't appear to be the case, but this pursuit continues, and they are keeping their distance from the suspect. So it's uncertain whether the officers on the ground know more about what the suspects wanted for other than a stolen vehicle, but it seems to me that they're keeping their distance, even at these slow speeds, from the suspect. So they may know a little bit more about what the suspect is wanted for.
Does that, keeping their distance, does that indicate that he could be violent, or does it indicate that perhaps if they just sit behind him, he's going and don't push too hard, he might give up?
Well, in these situations, the LAPD is constantly managing and balancing the pursuit, the need for getting the suspect into custody and the danger to the public. So they have supervisors on the scene weighing his speed, weighing how fast he's going, the driving conditions, and what he's wanted for, against the weighing that against the opportunity to get him at a later date. But it appears that LAPD is going to continue with this pursuit. They're going to stay in pursuit. They have the ability to go into a tracking mode based on what the wants and what that constant balance is. But right now, it appears the officers are kind of keeping their distance, not into a tracking mode. They're still running with their lights and sirens on, red and blue, and the sirens on, indicating that they're in a pursuit. But the suspect has definitely slowed down and appears to be thinking about what he wants to do next. But there's a constant balance act going on, David and Michelle, and right now that suspect is trying to decide what he wants to do, and LAPD is going to stay safely behind him and manage this pursuit.
Well, we've seen him, we believe that he is on westbound Sunset Boulevard. We watched him pass through Echo Park. He now technically is in Silver Lake, from what we understand. Silver Lake on westbound Sunset Boulevard. This is an area that's always congested, a lot of lights, a lot of traffic. But as we pointed out, he is going slower. So he does seem to be in a bit more control of his vehicle and not so desperate to get away. Perhaps, yeah, as you mentioned, JT, he's not going to lose the air units. Maybe he's starting to realize that, and perhaps that was just too dangerous of a tactic to take, which is a good sign.
Yeah, sometimes, David, when they get into these speeds and they drive very crazy and erratically, they scare themselves, and they understand that exactly what you said, that they're not going to lose LAPD Air Support Division. They can't outrun a radio. And as you can see, he's back into LAPD's northeast area. That's where the pursuit started. And this is in the area near Dodger Stadium as he works his way back towards Hollywood. But yeah, he's not going to get away. And he's sometimes they just the longer they keep this up, is the longer they're out of handcuffs. And the hope is that he does not hurt any civilians out there, any other motorists or families or pedestrians. That's what this management of the pursuit is all about. LAPD constantly managing what's going on.
And one of the things we often see, JT, as you're aware, is that after a short while, the individual will head back to familiar territory, and it kind of seems like we're getting into that pattern now, doesn't it?
Yeah, Michelle, that's often the case. These suspects tend to go back to the areas that they're familiar with. And what we'll see a lot is the suspects will circle up in neighborhoods that they know that have people they know, friendlies, somewhere they can hide. And what will happen is they will circle up on that area and then run. And the officer's going to foot pursuit. And they're familiar with that area, and they can run through those neighborhoods. But that's what LAPD Air Support Division is there for. They can set up a containment and a perimeter around these suspects very, very quickly, lock down that area and get canine into the area and do a house-to-house or yard-to-yard search, and even LAPD's Air Support Division has the high technology with infrared technology sensors on board the aircraft, where they can actually see the suspect in complete darkness hiding. So there's so many tools at their disposal to take the suspect into custody after the fact, and there is no real rush. They'll set up around that suspect if he does run into those familiar areas and runs from the vehicle. They can set up that perimeter, that containment, and take him into custody in a safe and effective manner.
All right, as we continue to watch him kind of make his way through these very tight streets, we believe he's still in the Silver Lake area. There he seems to be accelerating when he gets a straightaway, so he still does show some aggressive tendencies, but he's definitely taking the turns a little bit easier. We haven't seen him fly through an intersection for the last couple of minutes. He's in a big vehicle. This is a fairly large pickup truck, a lot of weight behind it. Maneuverability probably is in question. We understand the street is Lucille, southbound Lucille. He is stopped. All right, let's see what happens here. He is suddenly stopped at an intersection. He's not moving. LAPD, you can see the first unit behind him. They're getting out of their vehicles. They're setting up. There he is. He's getting out of his vehicle. We pulled off the shot for safety reasons. We don't want to necessarily show something that's too graphic, JT.
This is called a high-risk felony stop, David and Michelle. Well, what happens here, the officers are shouting orders to the suspect to comply. And obviously the suspect got out on his own, so he may have got out sooner than they want. But right now, it's a high-risk felony stop. They're going through the procedures that they're taught in the academy and in the field to prone the suspect out, get him down on the ground in a safe position, and be able to take him into custody and clear that vehicle and make sure there are no additional suspects.
Right, and you could see the dangers involved in this because of the cars that are stopped just directly above the vehicle, but luckily it does seem to be that he is complying. It's hard to see, but he does appear to be on his stomach, hands and feet stretched out. Police are still watching him very closely, but they have not approached him just yet. So he does appear to be cooperating. The driver's side door is open. It's tough to see what's going on the passenger side. I still can't confirm. Oh, there is another person there. The passenger is now getting out of the vehicle. On the passenger side, is that a female? Okay, that does appear to be a female. So they're walking her around to the same side of the suspect, having her stand there with her arms up. She's turning around. JT, I probably asked her to do the exact same procedure.
That's exactly it. Right now, the big danger in this situation is what's called crossfire. You've got all those, I think that sunset above them. You've got all those people in those vehicles on that area. And officers have to be very cognizant of the crossfire situation. You know, there was a shooting situation. If that suspect on the ground would draw a weapon, they would have to deal with that background in citizens and vehicles in the area. So they're always keeping that in constant weighing and balancing right now. As they bring that other passenger around, they'll do the same thing. They'll prone her out and make sure they have time is on the officer's side here, so they're going to get enough officers, enough team members in there to do a safe approach, take the suspects in custody, and again clear that vehicle and make sure there's no one else on the back of that truck.
Well, this one, yeah, it definitely appears to be ending peacefully, but we do make that point where if this were a violent ending, and those do happen, and we've seen it many times. Crossfire is a big concern, especially in these areas with a lot of people and a lot of vehicles. In fact, when you saw those vehicles stopped at the very top of this white pickup truck that we're looking at, they stopped because the police blocked that street too. And the drivers that were passing through didn't know where to go, so they just stopped. And if something bad were to happen, that they definitely would be in harm's way. But luckily, this appears to be just about over. They have checked the vehicle. Now they're around the suspects. They're around the driver right now. They're putting the cuffs on him. Another group is now taking the female passenger with her. So this appears to be over. Both suspects are in custody. Again, we still don't know what the circumstances are here. We do know that that was a reported stolen vehicle. We don't know who the suspect is, but we'll stay on top of it, obviously, and try to find more information.
All right, it all came to an end at Bellevue and Hoover. JT Alpaugh, thanks very much for joining us for our coverage, and we'll be right back with more.
3 terror suspects are now dead. A 4th suspect is at large, considered armed and dangerous.
French police stormed a kosher market where a man had killed 4 hostages and held at least a dozen more. The man, identified as Amadi Koulibaly, claimed to have killed a police officer yesterday. His alleged accomplice, girlfriend Hayat Boumediene, escaped. Koulibaly is claimed to be working with brothers Sharif and Saeed Kouachi, the suspects in the Charlie Hebdo massacre. They were both killed following a standoff with police northeast of Paris. And there are new questions about the American-born Al-Qaeda leader Anwar al-Awlaki. Were those suspects in the Paris attack inspired by him long after American forces killed him in Yemen? ABC's Martha Raddatz has been to Yemen and has more on the possible connections.
It is this woman, Hayat Boumediene, young, radical, armed and dangerous, who police are urgently searching for tonight. Her accomplice and boyfriend, Ahmadi Koulibaly, the hostage taker killed by police in the kosher grocery store. Koulibaly and the 26-year-old woman believed to be connected with the gunning down of a female police officer yesterday. The 4 terrorists, part of an Al-Qaeda cell, not the lone wolves we have seen in the past, radicalized Muslims seeking revenge against the West, views that likely grew more extreme during time some spent in prison.
You have somebody who is in prison for committing a crime, they're often going to be exposed to other bad individuals.
At least one of the attackers traveled to Yemen for training in 2011.
Al-Qaeda.
And in that phone call to a French television station this morning, before being killed by police, Sharif Kouachi said they were financed by Anwar al-Awlaki, the American-born Al-Qaeda leader in Yemen who was killed by a U.S. drone strike in September of 2011. The gunman refused to answer questions about whether there were more accomplices, a nightmare scenario, leaving counterterrorism officials racing to determine if there are more members of the sleeper cell. And the big question tonight, why weren't these known terrorists being tracked by French officials?
If you're going to follow one person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's a commitment of 20 to 21 agents doing surveillance. And you can't do that for more than a handful of people.
That was ABC's Martha Raddatz reporting. And a reminder, you can use the free ABC7 app to get all the latest on the Paris terror suspects. It's available from the iTunes App Store, Google Play, and Amazon.
A massive pothole on a South LA street is getting a lot of attention. It's located on Vermont and 71st Street. The gaping pothole has some residents very concerned. The hole opened up steps from a local church, the Firm Foundation Ministries. Some business owners say it's blocking access to their businesses.
It's a disaster waiting to happen. And so he said, well, we don't have no steel plates.
What, they ran out of steel plates?
He told me that they didn't have any steel plates, and that's why they couldn't cover it.
Street services came and set up barricades, but now a bunch of them are at the bottom of the hole. Officials say the sinkhole is a result of a broken sewer line. Contractors tell us that they will work through the night until the hole is fixed and secure.
Still ahead, we'll check in with Jonathan Novak for a look at the weather.
All right, happy Friday, everybody. And Jonathan Novak joins us with the weather, and we might get a gift with some rain.
Yeah, we had 4 letters most of the week, W-A-R-M. Now we're changing it. I know I had to think about this for a second. Now it's R-A-I-N. Okay, good. I'm glad it worked out there for a second. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, the math worked out. Chances of rain in the forecast right now. Looking outside from our time-lapse camera, we see that our Malibu shot had a few clouds in it as the sun went down. So, yeah, it wasn't a bad day at all. Tomorrow, the clouds will be on the increase, and the rain chances will be too. Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. I have it in loop mode, so you can see that the rain that was just east of the area is moving east and has basically fallen apart, and there's some rain way offshore that is also falling apart. You may see a sprinkle from that at the coast or maybe up toward around Santa Barbara tonight. Chance is only about 10%. That's not really where the rainmaker is going to be, where it's coming from. We have another system that we're going to watch out for tomorrow night, and that could bring some showers in a moment. I'll look at that with you. Culver City, a high today was 70, 71 Van Nuys, 65 Lancaster, lower 70s Dana Point, and Temecula. You actually were pretty warm, 75 today, but generally we were in the upper 60s, lower 70s. 61 right now, Van Nuys, calm winds. Here you go, across the board, another pleasant evening. 54 Palmdale, 52 Victorville, 54 Riverside. Your current temperature in Ontario is 58 degrees. So this is that first system. I was just showing you that in the Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. Off to the west is a stronger punch of energy right here, and that's going to roll through as we go through Saturday night and into Sunday morning, and that's where the rain chances will be. So our future rainfall forecast shows maybe a little bit of a shower here and there tonight, overnight, but the real chances come in through Sunday, Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon up to about 3 or 4 p.m. And it's going to be scattered in nature. Chances about 40%, and any totals we get would probably be a tenth of an inch or less. The time frame, again, about I'd say 10 p.m. Saturday night through maybe about 3 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, tapering things off. Highs tomorrow in the upper 60s in L.A., upper 60s in the IE. We'll top out around 70 Lake Elsinore, 64 Dana Point, 65 down in Oceanside. So a cooler day. It's not a huge cool down. In fact, that's actually normal where we should be for this time of year. 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. You see the weekend's got some clouds and a chance of rain Saturday night through Sunday morning. Highs in the mid-60s through Monday. Breezes kick in Tuesday, Wednesday. That's a Santa Ana wind. We could see some warmer weather. It looks like at least 70s back in play for the work week. Okay, Valley's IE, PM chance tomorrow, late chance. Chances of rain into Sunday morning. Highs only in the mid-60s, and you're also back into the 70s by Tuesday, Wednesday. Beaches, a sprinkle is possible tonight if we see that rain hold together. I just don't think it's too likely, about 10%. So we'll keep the chances again with you as well, late tomorrow through Sunday, and then drying things out from Monday on Tuesday, back into the 70s. The mountains, if you're asking any snow with this, tomorrow night in through Sunday, 8,000 feet and above. Generally, this is a very warm system. It's not going to be cold air, so snow's not really a factor. In the high desert, you're only looking for maybe a sprinkle on Sunday morning. That's it for me. We'll toss it back to you guys today.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you. Quite a surprise. A Massachusetts woman says she didn't know she was pregnant until about an hour before delivery.
I started to feel like I had put on some weight. You know, a big part of me was like, maybe it was just Christmas.
Catherine Kropis says she went to a hospital Tuesday because she had severe lower back pain. After some tests, doctors did an ultrasound and realized she was in labor. The doctor says these surprise deliveries happen once or twice a year at her hospital.
People will say, how could you not have known? And if you've never experienced it before, you know, they don't know really what they're supposed to be experiencing or feeling.
Baby Ellen Olivia is very healthy, born a whopping 10 pounds, 2 ounces. Ooh. Mom says Dad is also excited about this surprise delivery.
Big baby. Well, St. Louis isn't getting the hint. Despite Rams owner Stan Kroenke's plans to build an 80,000-seat stadium in the Hollywood Park area and not returning calls to city officials, St. Louis has begun the battle to keep the Rams in the show-me state. Today, they displayed plans for a new $900 million, 64,000-seat stadium near the Mississippi River. It would be home to the Rams and possibly a new MLS soccer franchise. If the stadium is built, NFL bylaws may prevent the Rams from leaving.
They basically say that a team has to exhaust all its opportunities in the local market before it can move, and that team or no team can move just for the opportunity to make more money.
If Rams owner Stan Kroenke follows through on his plans to build a new stadium in Inglewood, it could increase the team's estimated value from $930 million to as much as $3 billion. Oregon will be without their wide receiver Darren Carrington when they face Ohio State in the national championship game on Monday night. Carrington tested positive for marijuana and is suspended, but you can catch the game only on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Hockey now. Teemu Selanne will certainly end up in the Hockey Hall of Fame when he is eligible in 2017. But first, on Sunday, the Ducks will honor the best player in their franchise history as they show their appreciation for the Finnish Flash and retire his number 8 jersey. Selanne played 15 of his 23 years down in Anaheim in 2 different stints. Teemu first joined the Mighty Ducks in a trade from Winnipeg in 1996 and traded to San Jose in 2001. Selanne rejoined the Ducks in 2005 and helped them to their only Stanley Cup title in 2007. Selanne retired after last season and holds 14 franchise records.
Obviously, it's a big honor. It means a lot, and obviously, I have a long history here, and some great moments, and obviously, what Ducks are going to do that night, it's going to be very special, and I'm very thankful for that. I've always had a really great relationship with the fans, and sharing with that night with all the people here and the teams here, it is going to be very special.
So the Ducks will retire Selanne's jersey prior to their game against Winnipeg, one of Teemu's former teams, on Sunday night.
More news straight ahead here at 7:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11. Caught on camera, the wild altercation that led to a deadly police shooting. Did the officer go too far? Plus, have the Golden Globe winners leaked just 2 days before the big show? These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Unique playmates at San Diego Zoo's Safari Park. A 6-week-old one-horned rhino and an 8-month-old ankole, which is an African cow, are becoming the best of friends. The male rhino calf named Chuddy is being raised by veterinarians after they realized he wasn't gaining weight as he should with his mother. To help him get daily exercise and have companionship, they introduced him to the female ankole named Moo Kitty just 3 days ago. And if all goes as planned, Chuddy and Moo Kitty could become companions until the rhino is weaned in 14 months.
Cute little guy. 3 long overdue medals for war veterans were finally awarded in Granada Hills today, and it's partly because of another vet who waded through all the red tape to make it happen. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes was there.
The award ceremony was right on schedule, but it's the awards these veterans had to wait for.
It's a long time.
Not a few days, not even a few years. The wait for these military service medals can be measured in decades.
It's a long time. This has got to be, 70 years ago?
Joseph Goldfarb served in World War II. So did 91-year-old Sam Shaner. Stanley Olivier is a Korean War veteran. All 3 had earned military medals they never received. Goldfarb eventually filed for his medals and got them through the mail. But World War II veteran Art Peterson, at 92 years old, did all the legwork to make sure Olivier and Shaner got theirs.
There's nothing like having the evidence of your service hanging on your wall for your family to enjoy.
So why the big wait for all those medals? Well, the folks here say the U.S. government doesn't make it very easy to get them.
The hardest thing in the world is to get the papers from the vet so we could get their medals.
So these veterans finally have their recognition of service. And in typical military fashion, it was a case of hurry up and wait.
It's a long wait. It's been a long life, thank God.
And thank you. In Granada Hills, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. In the meantime, have a great night.